Good morning everyone. So under the unit longitudinal dimension of fiber, that is length of the fiber, we have studied concept of staple length of cotton fiber and technical significance of fiber length. Just to recall, staple length of the cotton fiber is defined as distance between the two imaginary lines in a tuft prepared by hand stapling where there is sudden reduction in number of fibers. Length of the fiber is required to be tested since it decides spinability of the fiber. Length of the fiber decides count to be spun, quality of yarn, it decides processing performance. Longer the fibers, they can be spun to finer counts with good quality of yarn. Longer length fiber results into stronger and uniform yarn with comparatively lower twist and lower hairiness. When you shift from longer length fibers to shorter length fibers, then we need to reset the machineries in spinning. Thus, fiber length affects spinability. It decides spinning performance of the fiber. Thus, length of the fiber decides spinability. After understanding the significance of length of the fiber, let us move to the point measurement of fiber length. Length of the fiber is measured using different methods. The important methods are hand stapling method, grease plate method, comb sorter method and digital fibrograph. As far as hand stapling method is concerned, we have already discussed measurement of staple length using hand stapling. Today we will have discussion on grease plate method. Grease plate method works on the principle that is single fiber measurement. Because in this particular method, we are going to measure length of individual fiber. Let me repeat. Here in grease plate method, we used to measure length of individual fiber and hence the principle is single fiber measurement. The method is called as grease plate method, or this is also known as oil plate method, because we require little quantity of either grease or oil. So, the method is known as grease plate or oil plate method. How it is used, I will be explaining in the methodology. Grease plate requires a glass plate. So, this is a glass plate. Very first step in testing, it may be any parameter, length of the fiber, fineness of fiber, maturity of fiber, you have to select a sample. You have to select representative, because as far as textile materials are concerned, it may be fiber, yarn or fabric. We cannot test each and every individual, because testing of each and every individual is time consuming method. Few tests are destructive in nature, and since textile is a system of mass production and it contains lot of variation, the solution is to select representative. And while you select representative, you have to select it from different zones without doing biasing. So, here also in grease plate method, you need to select a sample. Let us assume This is representative of the population which is given to you, which you have selected randomly, giving equal chance to all the variations. This is 20 milligram sample which you have selected from the population, following suitable sampling technique. In grease plate method, since we have to measure length of individual fiber, you are supposed to collect the fiber from this sample, individual fiber from this sample. And to collect fibers, we need to have what is called as a forceps. You can use a forceps and you can collect fibers one by one. In grease plate method, simply you have to collect fibers one by one and you need to measure length of this fiber. Now let us assume that you have selected a fiber. This is a fiber you have selected with the help of forceps. Now if you place the fiber as it is on the glass plate and if you measure distance between the two ends using scale, you won't get true result. This is not true length of the fiber. Technically this is called as extent of the fiber. Now if you want true result of this fiber, then what you need to do is you have to make the fiber straight. You need to control movement of this fiber. And thus if you want to record true length of the fiber, if you keep fiber as it is on the glass plate, it is not possible. It is not at all possible to control its movement. It is not at all possible to make it straight. And hence, we have to take help of small quantity of grease or can be paraffin oil. You make the surface greasy. Here I have shown. This is where the grease has been applied. Simply, you can take little quantity of grease and just apply on the glass surface. Now you can collect a fiber from the sample, of course at random, and place it on this greasy surface. Make it straight. Now since you have made the surface greasy, fiber can easily stick on this surface. Thus you can control movement of the fiber very easily. You can make the fiber straight very easily. And now you can measure distance between the two ends of the fiber. You can use a scale which is calibrated in terms of mm and centimeter. Even you can use a glass plate which is having etching in terms of mm and centimeter, or even a photograph. You can stick on this glass paper, photograph of the scale. Or even you can use a divider and with the help of scale you can have accurate measurement of length of the fiber. Thus, practically what you are supposed to do is you have to select sample, keep it on a glass plate, go on collecting the fibers from sample with the help of forceps. Keep those fibers on greased surface. Make it straight, go on measuring length of the fibers using scale, and simultaneously you have to record length of the fiber in table. So this table indicate length of every fiber under the measurement. Considering 40% variation in cotton fibers, number of readings are around 800 to 900 to include all variations. Now with these many number of readings, you need to have 2 to 2.5 hours to complete one test. And while collecting the fibers, you may give importance to longer length fibers, because collecting longer length fibers and measuring their length is bit easy compared to short length fibers, right? And hence your result may go wrong. It may be overestimated. So, while you collect fiber using forceps, you have to give equal chance to all the fibers. Short length fiber, shortest length fiber to longest length fibers. So here only 4 readings are written, but then you can see there is short length fiber of 6 mm, even long length fiber of 39 mm. So avoid biasing while you go for measurement of length of the fiber. Now let us assume that you have completed the test. You have this table with you. Now how to interpret the result? Using this table, you can interpret result in terms of mean length. You can just find out average of the second column, and what you will be getting is mean length. But then in previous lecture we have seen mean length for cotton is of no use. We have to find out a length which is approximately equal to staple length, right? So that we can go for correct setting of rollers, so that we can have good control on the process. We can produce good quality of yarn. So with this technique also, it is essential to express length in terms of the length which is nearer to the staple length. And to get that specific length, we have to go for next step, that is analysis of this data. Analysis of data in terms of frequency distribution table. You might have studied this technique in STAT also, wherein the first step is to prepare groups. Here we are supposed to prepare length groups, fiber length groups in mm. Friends, you also start writing this in your notebook, because based on this exercise I'll be giving you an assignment, and unless and until you do this on your own, it is really difficult to understand about measurement of length of the fiber. So start writing in the notebook. Prepare 5 columns. First is fiber length group in mm, then mean class length in mm, frequency, cumulative frequency and percentage cumulative frequency. These are the length groups. You can record. In next step, you have to find out mean of this group. Now the first group is 37 to 39. So mean of this class is 38. The second group is 34 to 36. So the group mean is 35. So this way, go on writing mean of all the classes. Do it. So these are the means of the classes. Next column is frequency. Frequency is number of individuals in the group. So here in this case, 5 is number of fibers present in the group 37 to 39 mm. 56 number of fibers are there which are having length in between 19 to 21. 20 fibers are there having the length in the group of 4 to 6 mm. So third column indicate number of fibers in specific group. The fourth column is cumulative frequency. You just have to do cumulation of the third column, that is 5 plus frequency of next group comes to 20. 20 plus frequency of next group 35 comes to 55 and so on. So continue with this. So here the final value we are getting is 500. What does it mean? We have measured 500 number of fibers. With grease plate we have measured length of 500 fibers. 500 fibers were there under the measurement. Now next column is percentage cumulative frequency. When I take 500 fibers for measurement, I get 5 fibers in the group 37 to 39. So instead of 500, if I would have taken 100 fibers, I could have obtained the value 1 here. So what you need to do is, for 500 fibers, we get 5 fibers in this group. So for 100 it is 1. If 20 for 500, 4 for 100 and so on. Just go on dividing the values by 5. Now since it is percentage cumulative frequency, here the last value of this column is 100. Obviously it is 100. Now preparation of frequency distribution table. Just preparation of frequency distribution table is not enough. We have to go further with a step, that is, we have to use these 2 columns. Out of 5 columns, we have to use these 2 columns, that is mean length in mm, mean class length in mm, and second percentage cumulative frequency. We have to plot a curve wherein class mean length has to be considered on y-axis and percentage cumulative frequency on x-axis. Something like this. You take class length on y-axis and take cumulative frequency on x-axis. So using these values, you start plotting the points on this curve. So start doing now. Okay, this may be the type of curve you might have obtained with these values, right? Next step, with this curve, we have to go for analysis of this curve. What is our objective? We need to set the rollers. We need a length of the sample which is approximately equal to staple length, isn't it? Now for getting that particular length, that specific length, we have to go for analysis of this curve. Now let us assume this is a curve. AXB is the curve which we have drawn. Now let me tell you what exactly is this curve. Here what you have done, you have taken length on this axis and number of fibers on this axis. Now what does this curve indicate? Here under this curve we have have placed the fibers. Here in this zone there are longest length fibers, longer length fibers in this zone, medium length fibers, then short length fibers here. So this curve is known as fiber distribution curve, length frequency distribution curve, or also known as end aligned distribution of the fibers, because as you can see here, every fiber ends at this point, isn't it? Every fiber ends at this point but starts at this point. Each and every fiber starts at this line while it ends at this line, isn't it? So since all the fibers are aligned to a specific line, this distribution is known as end aligned distribution. So to obtain specific length which is nearer to staple length, let us start analyzing this curve. The very first step is you take midpoint of the longest length fiber. B is midpoint of AX, which is longest length fiber. Draw a straight line through this point B at C. This straight line meets the curve at point C. Through this point C, you draw a perpendicular on baseline at point D. Do this. Now you have to measure this distance XD using a scale. Let us assume this is 8 centimeter. You take 1/4 of this and mark at E. So XE is 1/4 of XD. Here same has been written, XE is 1/4 of XD. So since it is 1/4 of the whole distribution, what you can say is, here we have in this zone we have 25% of individuals out of total, while here in this zone we have remaining 75%. So this zone is a quarter, isn't it? And it is upper quarter. So this EF is called as upper quartile length and is defined as length exceeded by upper 25% of the fibers. These are upper 25% of the fibers. Now, as far as staple length is concerned, we have already studied staple length. Let me repeat the thing. In the tuft of staple length, the condition or the placement of the fiber is something like this. These are say short length fibers followed by medium length fibers, then long length fibers, then we have longest length fibers. These are longest length fibers, right? Now here the staple length is distance between these 2 points where there is sudden reduction in number of fibers. So this is called as staple length. We already learned this. Now if you just observe, here there are short fibers. The short fibers are placed in this zone, and we have not at all considered length of short fibers when we measure the staple length. We have literally neglected these fibers. from measurement. And therefore, here also in case of measurement of the length by grease plate method, that specific length by grease plate method, we have to exclude short fibers from the distribution. To exclude the short fibers which are over here, we have to do one more step. Right now all the fibers are there. Under this curve all the fibers are there, and considering length of all the fibers, we have found out upper quartile length. Here we have upper 25% of the fibers. So EF is upper quartile length considering all the fibers including short fibers. Now in next step we are going to take midpoint of this. Draw a straight line cutting to curve at point K. Draw a straight line, draw a perpendicular at L. Then you measure this XL length. You can measure the length XL. After you measure length XL, you take its 1/4. So XM is 1/4 of XM is 1/4 of XL, and you draw a perpendicular here. So MN is also upper quartile length since it is 1/4 of OL. But here what we have done? We have converted the distribution of fibers into one wherein we have excluded the short fibers. So earlier the distribution was like this, where EF is upper quartile length. But now we have excluded this zone. This zone indicates short fibers, and we have the fiber distribution only this much. This is the distribution of the fiber. Let me show by another color. So excluding short fibers, this is your distribution. Only this much distribution we have considered. Understood? So with this distribution, if you take this length, it is upper quartile length. EF is upper quartile length of this distribution, all fibers, while NM is upper quartile length of only this much distribution. So this NM is called as effective length. This is called as effective length and is defined as upper quartile length. This is also upper quartile length, but then what is change in distribution? We have removed, we have neglected these short fibers. Understood? So upper quartile length is defined as upper quartile length of distribution wherein short fibers are excluded. In next step, we have to take 3/4 of XL. This XO is 3/4 of XL. Same is written here. XO is 3/4 of XL. Draw a perpendicular. Now since this is 3/4 of distribution, this yellow colored line, since this is 3/4, this is called as lower quartile length, because below this line there are 25% fibers. There is 1/4. So this is called as lower quartile length. And this zone indicates short fibers. So LB number of fibers out of XB number of fibers are having short length. So let us define the terms which we have obtained from this curve. First is upper quartile length. Upper quartile length is defined as length of fiber exceeded by upper 25% of the fibers in fiber length distribution curve including short fibers. Effective length is length of fiber exceeded by upper 25% of the fibers in fiber length distribution curve, of course excluding short fibers. Lower quartile length is defined as length of the fibers exceeded by 75% of fibers in fiber length distribution curve. Next is short fibers. Percentage of fibers having length less than or equal to half of effective length. Now in this curve, these fibers, they have length lesser than half of effective length. So all these fibers, they are having length equal to or less than half of effective length. Now next is dispersion. Dispersion, you might have studied this term in stat. It indicates variation in length, right? Very similar to standard deviation, mean deviation, coefficient of variation. Very similar to these terms, we have one more term, that is dispersion, which indicates variation. And in this case, it is considered as difference between upper quartile and lower quartile of the distribution, excluding short fibers. Let me repeat. So upper quartile length is measured in terms of length of EF. Effective length is measured in terms of NM. You can observe the same in your diagram. Even you can measure this length upper quartile and record it as upper quartile length. Measure length NM from your diagram and record it as effective length. Lower quartile length is length of PO. Now short fibers. Short fibers are over here. So LB corresponds to short fiber out of total number of fibers. So LB divided by XB into 100 gives you short fibers. LB into XB expressed in percentage gives you short fiber percentage. And then dispersion. Let me explain concept of dispersion with the help of example. Let us assume this is one sample. Let us consider this sample as sample A. And we have NM as effective length, PQ as lower quartile, upper quartile and lower quartile length. Let us assume this is one more sample. Let us assume this is one more sample which I am having with the curve something like this. Say this sample is B. Now for a sample, as per definition, you need to take difference between N, M and P, OP, right? So the difference between N, M and OP is, let us call this as T. So here for a sample it is NT divided by NM into 100, right? Now if you consider this yellow sample, B sample, here NM is same, but here we have the lower quartile length equal to P dash Q. So what is difference between upper and lower quartile length? Here it is, say for example, R. So for B sample, it is dispersion is NR divided by NM into 100. So the numerator is more for B than numerator of this. So value of dispersion is higher for B than A. What does it mean? Dispersion is more for B, dispersion is less for A. That is, variation in fibers is more in case of sample B than in A. ultimately what you are going to get is, as a result, this yellow sample, this B sample will give you poor quality yarn compared to sample A. So in general, this dispersion term indicate overall variation in the sample, since it takes care of 50% of fibers in the distribution. Here we have 25% fibers, here we have 25% fibers, and in between we have remaining 50%. So in first case, in sample A, there is small difference between these fibers, these 50% fibers. This is almost straight line, but here there is huge difference between the length of fibers. In 50% fiber there is huge variation, and hence quality of the yarn will be poor with this. So this is additional information you are going to get after analysis of this curve. So after you analyze this curve, we'll get upper quartile length, we'll get effective length, we'll get lower quartile length, short fiber percentage and dispersion. As far as this effective length is concerned, this is having very good correlation with the staple length, which was our objective behind doing this grease plate method. This effective length has very good correlation with staple length. What is that correlation? You have to find out. Consider this as an assignment, point of assignment rather. So, since this effective length has very good correlation with the staple length, we can use this effective length for setting the rollers. You might have studied in spinning also. We can set rollers based on this effective length, giving certain allowance. Apart from this, after you do analysis of the curve, you will be able to find out short fiber percentage. If short fibers are more in mixing, those will create floating fibers and then will get poor quality yarn. Basically, uniformity, strength of yarn gets reduced. Dispersion indicates variation in the length of the fibers. Higher variation indicate poor quality of the fibers, poor quality of raw material. So, after you do analysis of this curve, the fiber length parameters which you are going to get helps you in selection of raw material, considering effective length, short fiber percentage and dispersion. It helps you in grading the raw material, and secondly, it helps you in controlling your process by setting the rollers. Is this clear to all? Now this grease plate method, since we are measuring length of each and every fiber, we are measuring distance between the two ends of the fiber, that is true length of the fiber. This gives you accurate result. But then, as I have explained, we require to take more number of readings. 2 to 3 hours are required to complete one test. So it is tedious and time consuming method. It is eye straining method because you need to collect single fiber out of the given sample. So this method is of no use as far as mill people are concerned, industry people are concerned. For process control, this method may not be of use. But for research where accuracy is desired, accuracy is essential, this method is used. So grease plate method is used especially for research purpose. Okay. Is this clear to all? Let me repeat the grease plate method once again. In grease plate method, we need to have a glass plate. First step is to select 20 milligram, approximately 20 milligram sample which is representative from different zones of the population. In second step, you apply small quantity of grease or oil on this glass plate. Then using a forceps, you can start collecting fibers, place them on grease surface, make it straight and measure length using scale or divider and record in a table. After you record the readings in table, this table has to be converted into what is called as frequency distribution table. So this is frequency distribution table. From this table, you have to use values from second and fifth column and plot a curve with class length on y-axis and cumulative frequency on x-axis. After you plot the curve, you have to go for analysis of this curve, in which in first step you find out midpoint of longest length fiber, draw a straight line cutting to curve at C, draw a perpendicular, measure this length xd, take 1/4 at E and erect perpendicular EF. EF is upper quartile length. Take its midpoint, draw a straight line cutting at point K, erect a perpendicular at L, measure XL, take its 1/4 XM, draw a perpendicular MN. MN is called as effective length. 3/4 of XL comes to XO, and this PO is called as, the perpendicular at O is called as lower quartile length. This shaded zone indicate short fibers in mixing. After you do analysis of this diagram, you will get different parameters such as upper quartile length, effective length, lower quartile length, short fiber percentage and dispersion. Effective length, you can make use of effective length for controlling your process by setting the rollers, while you can select raw material referring the values of effective length, short fiber percentage and dispersion. Grease plate method gives you accurate result, but since it is tedious and time consuming as well as training, this is mainly reserved for research purpose. Mill people, since their objective is to control the process, this grease plate method may not be helpful for the industry people. So this is all about grease plate method.